Live. Good
Still
morning.
live.
Still alive. And it's working. I'm still blurry, but I was blurry before.
So it didn't get blurry-er.
Blurry-er. I'm sure some light would help. All right. It's no sun today. All clouds, but at least I have internet.
Welcome to Wonderful Wet Wednesdays.
Wet Wednesdays. And I thought our internet came back on Monday night. But then when I tried it out, it wouldn't handle the live. It was like this partial internet.
Yeah, that's it's been crazy. It's been crazy here in town.
And I tried going to my office on Monday and doing it from there, and then every light in town was off. So every stoplight, like the normal lighting structure, it was just off. So
yeah, it's been a little crazy.
I thought only snow knocked us down. Apparently it's rain too.
No, people here just don't like moisture of any type. I'll never forget the first time I saw it, moving down here, and I saw it rain and people were going like 4 miles an hour. I was like, what the hey? And it was like, don't you understand that the rain brings the oil out of the concrete? That's been deposited because it hasn't rained in so long. No, would have never thought of that.
I learned that for people who use motorcycles, makes it very dangerous for them to be on the road.
Yep, for sure.
Now, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Okay. Every now and then it gets a little lag, but apparently AT&T had like a whole transformer or something catch fire.
Yeah, their Department of Redundancy department didn't work so well.
Yeah, we were having that debate several times over the last couple of days that they should work on that redundancy.
I thought it was interesting.
Today I thought it
was interesting when one of the news stations brought on a former employee that said, yes, sometimes they cut costs by not having what you think they would have.
By not having what they would have?
Yeah, like you would think they'd have redundancy there, But anyway, isn't that the first rule in anything on kind of mission critical programs like that?
No, it's not. Actually, when I was going to school for interior design, I interned at a company and I got put on a very important job with TXU. I'm an intern. And I got put on a TXU job. I was so excited. I'm working on like this Fortune 100 or whatever TXU company is. And I figured out why really quick. I was got into the job. They needed somebody to create redundancy. After 9/11, they passed a law that said our mission critical infrastructure, so mission critical, not first world problems, things like electricity and water had to have redundancy in the event of an attack. And so from that perspective, electricity has redundancy now. So if you were to, in theory, say bomb the TXU building or something, the Fort Worth building can take over and vice versa.
Yeah, let's not have that happen.
Yeah, let's not have that happen. I would just rather not.
No, it just but it does go to show you how reliant we've become upon the internet and the way we run our lives. It's
just
fascinating.
A little bit.
Just fascinating.
Yeah, like you think about all the things you can do, things that, I don't know, that's just crazy. When the internet's down, our TV is through the internet. Our movies through the internet.
Everything. Interesting.
Through the internet. Luckily, we had candles. We had that was unlocked. We had that taken care of.
That was awesome. That's awesome. I actually had a conversation face to face with somebody yesterday. It was amazing. Yeah. Because he had lost that. So we had to actually meet. It was fun.
Oh my gosh. Meet in person?
Yeah. It was great.
All right, here's a login. I'm trying to find different pages we need. Ignore the fact
What pages do we need?
So, what I was going to work on so that we can start bringing more people in smoother. Oops, got too many windows up. One of the things that's nice about having Kyvio and ActiveCampaign, those specific programs work together, is the ability to start streamlining operations. That makes me happy. So I started.
Which then would enable you to scale, correct?
Scale. Sorry, look at you like figuring out the reason to do something.
Well, just I had in that conversation I had yesterday, one of the things the person brought to me is I have this project, but I need to scale. The problem I have right now is scale. And it was like, it just hit me when you said that.
Mm-hmm. It is scale. So we want to help the most amount of people with double funnel TV. So right here, what are these people? Cold leads. I need to figure out which one's which. Thinking double. Okay. So these are people I was looking to put in there that I added them.
Nice.
And gave them the opportunity to join. So I sent them a specific email, and in that email automation, it automatically added them to a cold lead. So these are people who they weren't ready for like a paid, business kind of venture.
Mm-hmm.
But let's offer them this. These are people who actually themselves submitted the lead. So wow, it should get right on top of that, right? So I would like to move these people to the next step. So what are the next steps? Well, here's the problem. I need information from them so that I can easily, churn out whatever it is they need, right?
Right.
I need to make sure the information's actually in. So this is going to be a box that I can create an automation that says, hey, I need your information, go here to put it in, right? So I need to create that email and that automation. Then when they have their information in, so the nice part about this is since it is a form, I can say have the form add a tag or a list or some sort of something that will automatically move them from this one to this one. Or nice. Whenever, even if they're already over here, that once they've submitted their lead, they'll be given the access to that. And as soon as they fill that information out, I can make it automatically add them to this section. Why does it? Because if they're in here, I can start making sure they have the other pieces.
Nice.
So like I put Scott, Dwayne, and Kyle, which are three of the ones we've been working on in that campaign.
Rayanne, where's Rayanne? Put her in there.
It's different because she paid to play. She paid them to learn.
Okay. Rayanne, I'm fighting for you here. Don't worry about it.
Rayanne is actually good to go now. She has a full set of automations. She has all the pages she needs. And this Monday, when she came in for our Business Growth Network membership meeting, I was feeling very lazy, so we didn't present. It's been one of those kind of weeks. But we sat down and made sure everything was good to go for her so she could start driving traffic to her funnels. And then after they've met the 3 criteria, ActiveCampaign, Kyvio, membership,
nice.
We can turn around there and get them scheduled. And then I need their information, right?
Mm-hmm.
I need to make sure I can log on. And unfortunately, it's not the same for absolutely every person. So, and then building out a basic funnel, making sure they actually have the web pages they need. And this is more for me. So once we get them scheduled, and I know I built this, but I don't want to leave anybody hanging, right? So if we don't finish somebody in the hour, which we've kind of learned is very hard to do both ActiveCampaign and Kyvio in 1 hour, in the way that it should be done, right?
In the way we want it to be done. Yes, should and want to.
well, exactly. And then that's kind of like their finished full applicant. Actually, this one, look at this. I can drag and drop them. I want that one to be, oh, now it's not going to
Amazing.
work for me. Drag and drop, and you can change. So it becomes like a task management. So the thing that I like about this, and kind of why I want to show that too, is you can start to drop off the 1,000,001 different applications you're running. So instead of running Asana or Trello or trying to, duct tape a Google like Excel spreadsheet or something together to handle your project management, you can do that in Active. The nice part is, unlike Trello or Asana or some of these other ones, you can have these fully integrated with your emails, with directing them in certain directions. You can build out automations over here that notify Scott that this is what we're doing on Monday. Notify Jenna that she needs to accept the permission over here in Kyvio. You can start making
Nice.
it do lots of different things. I even had Design Pickle. Remember the people who did your lead magnet for us?
I did. Yes, I do. They did a wonderful job.
They're now integrated with Zapier. Let's see, I had Zapier open.
Wow.
Yeah, so Zapier. So I completely deleted all my own Zaps. I don't like Zaps. I try not to use them unless I have to. But like, here's one of the Zaps I created to go from my booking schedule to Active Campaign to move people from one offer to the next offer, so I know where someone is in the deal structure. I even thought about doing that over here, making sure one of the things that was brought up, if I can pick the right one, was with Kyle. He's like, okay, you built this for me. How do I use it? That is a great, great point. Just because you build something doesn't mean the other person knows how to use it. So making sure they can schedule and do that automatically. So there's all these different little things that you can start automating it. And I believe someone I know has this thing where you can also use Active Campaign to automate sending note cards or something.
Yes, we have that too. U+1moments.com might be a place to find that out. Find out about that.
I think I know a guy who knows about that, right?
I do know a guy. I know a guy who knows a guy. What's fascinating about this, what's happening in my world from the speaking side or training side or really almost consulting side is, again, the people are coming going, I've got this really great blah, blah, blah. How do I scale it? How do I do it? Where do I go? And it's amazing how so many people have a portion of what they need, but they don't have the other part of what they need. And I think we can become a clearinghouse of really helping them put all those things together in a lot of different ways, a lot of really positive ways. I think it was really cool that Design Pickle tweeted the warfare marketing / 101 speaker hacks, which might have been retweeted once or twice since then, as a really cool thing.
And they actually asked me first, they emailed me and they asked me if it was okay if they shared that, because obviously if I was in the business of getting paid to create stuff like that and then my clients found out that I was using Design Pickle, that could look bad on me, or my clients would skip out, whatever. But I gave them permission because it was a fabulous lead magnet. Obviously, that's why they chose it. They did a lot of great work on it, and then they shared it with the group, and I still need to share it with Digital Marketer, that group, because there's so many people trying to create lead magnets, and they're like, it's hard, and they're not pretty. I'm like, just Design Pickle it.
Yeah, no, I mean, they did a fabulous job, and so, yeah, that's good. I mean, I was elated that they would want to do that. I mean, it's such a good-looking piece. We want to get that piece out and help as many people as we possibly can. So that's the exciting part about all this. The thing that's interesting about this, and it's kind of been over the last few weeks, is as one action is taken, it exposes the next action that's possible. And so it's kind of, it's very intriguing, to say the least.
So here's one thing I started doing this weekend while I was working before my internet went out, was marking down which stage each process is in, partially for my own, Partially for when I do share it, people understand the different stages.
Mm-hmm.
But also I want everyone else to say, so awareness, and this is almost before awareness, cold lead, yes, actually this one's on this side. But understanding at each space where these people are, so that it's very crystal clear where you're at, and then you can start keeping track. So let's see, blue goes to green, that's a submitted lead. Green, yellow. I'm trying to think of Roy G. Biv.
What?
You've never heard of Roy G. Biv?
RGB? What?
Roy G. Biv is how you remember the colors of the spectrum in order.
Oh, yeah.
Red, orange, green.
Yes, I have. I knew I heard it. But then when you have to remember what it stands for, it kind of loses a little bit. It's kind of like, huh? What? Yeah, no, when you said that, it was like, oh, yeah, that made sense.
Yep, so yeah, just kind of changing some colors in here. Subscribe face. And this is actually, we're starting to move them over. By asking them to take actions, we're really getting them to convert. So when their information, call that a convert. They have gone through the process of actually having to put some time, some skin in the game to give me that information and think about it. I think I do want to make the information a little less and more focused based on that home page. Get a lead magnet if they already have one. Technically, this would kind of be, once they start purchasing, I've got information, I'm calling that a convert. What are we going to do to excite them? That would be a good one to acknowledge. What's after yellow would be orange, and then, wait, yeah, this one should be orange. Trying to keep it like the rainbow, so it flows. Although I'm obviously missing engage here. So I could have, if these people that I want to be leads, I can put active code. They have a code that I can actually put on the website. And once a person hits the website, it can trigger active campaign to move them to a different section up my funnel. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense. I'm actually thinking, does it make any sense to do it in the steps of the selling cycle? Or is this more execution? What's that?
Oops, me and my caps. I need to take my computer and hit website. I don't actually have this one programmed. Let me go get this one. Where did it put it? I put it on the last section I was working on. It would just make me happier to have all the colors where they need to be and have some process. Even if I don't get a lot of people actually going there, maybe they skip. I just kind of want to know, like, people I invite, who's at least hitting the website, right?
Right.
Have awareness, engage, subscribe, convert. What I'm missing is an excite. So let me, I think whenever you miss the excite stage, that's when you miss something important. That's where magic happens, when you can excite someone.
I'd agree with that. I think sometimes we take it for granted, or if they say yes, we feel like they must have said yes because they're excited. That's not necessarily true. Sometimes they just say yes because they say yes.
Right. This is where I feel like that's the game changer. Like when people don't understand why some companies win and others don't, it's the other company had an excite. Assuming all other things were equal, that both people have lead magnets, both people have sales processes,
right?
Both people have good products. So this, they converted. My job is after they have information to start exciting them, Because essentially when I'm asking them to purchase, I'm asking them to ascend. So after red, let's see, we've done blue to green to yellow to orange to red, purple. We've got 3 purples to work with. So have they purchased? Kaivio, I didn't change the word. The words don't really matter, but I want everyone to understand that there's a process. And I think we were talking about that.
Yeah, the thing that was very interesting over the last couple of days, again, kind of studying what you can study when you're doing different things, because all of a sudden there's time to look at some stuff. But one of the comments that I made on somebody's on a Facebook post was, this is an amazing example of a system in action. In other words, if you knew the system, you could see the picture of this booth at this trade show had the entire system in play. You'd have to know that. Well, that's the point. Is it was a great example of a system in play. It looked very professional. The banners were in a specific order. The table was set out a certain way. Blah blah blah. I mean, you could see it was a system, and system stands for save yourself time, energy, and money. So it was save yourself time, energy, money. So it was, they just had it was a great display, and that's how you get duplication and replication and be able to do something. Sometimes people who are high achievers they know exactly what they do to get it accomplished. What's happening here is you know exactly what you do to get this stuff accomplished, but now it's being documented in such a way that there is a pattern here, that there is a system here. In other words, we need this, 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 this. And because that system is now coming together, now all of a sudden it becomes replicatable quicker. So you can serve more people and you can scale faster. So within an organization, you could scale faster, but between multiple organizations, you can scale faster. In other words, each one can. Making some theoretical points here.
So chosen, I'm going to pick, this is kind of operation. Got to have operations somewhere, right?
Unfortunately, sales prevention department.
Really?
Far too often.
Says the sales guy. Oh, things I've never heard because I've never been in sales.
Well, just, you gotta know the playing field.
Let me move this one. Chosen, get scheduled. This one's full applicant. Oops, did it move it again? Yay. But the ability to sit there, and I'm speaking to digital marketer partners, which I think makes me nervous. Like speaking to mass groups of like people that I'm training in business, that's always easy. Speaking to your peers, knowing full and well that they're going to rip you apart.
Well, they can either rip you apart or they can go, damn, that was pretty good. See, it's interesting because, I've done a few events lately and actually going to do one Friday and then get on a plane and then go out to LA and do one Saturday. And I'm fascinated listening to other speakers and other trainers. I love hearing what they do and how they do it. And it's interesting because there's really nothing new on the planet. There is a recrafting and there's some moving around and there are a variety of different things like that. But for the most part, what's out there is that, but it's how you present it and how you do it. And it's one of the things, actually, one of the working relationships that we're now in and growing and really excited about with U+1 and me personally. I even said from stage last week, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And the reality is that's not true. You can. You just have to have new toys. So the point is,
That's
if you're
interesting.
well, but I mean, think about it. You can. I mean, I've been selling for more than 3 years now, so I've been doing this for a while, and yet when somebody takes and creates a derivation of something that's so powerful, like I say, they systematize it in such a way, all of a sudden you go, I'm in. Let me support this. Let me go with it. And see how we can serve more people with it faster. It's that scalability. All of a sudden, somebody takes something that, quite frankly, has been done for a long time in different ways, maybe not quite as effectively. Now, all of a sudden, they put it in a packaging that's far more effective. And you go, and so once you learn about it, you got a choice. You can either ignore it or you can adopt it. Well, why would you ignore it? If it helps people faster, why would you ignore it? If it helps people faster, is moral and ethical, why would you? Right?
Exactly.
There's a lot of things that help people faster that aren't moral and ethical, and unfortunately, those are the things that people seem to adopt. It's crazy. But if you have some really good work, I mean, I think what you're doing here, putting this all together, is fabulous, actually. I mean, it's a great service for those who will see this. And the Business Growth Network and what we're doing with U+1 and all the kind of all of it coming together is designed for a specific reason. Serve more people better, faster. Those are good things.
Those are good things. Add a stage. Where did it add it? I think I've added 2 now. I can't find them though. Here they advocate. Oh, I have both of them. They kept both. I just got in weird spots.
The good news is you can modify.
I know, right? The only thing bad is when you get some of these that are really long, active campaign starts doing its own little thing every now and then. All right, advocate. Oh, I moved it all the way over here. Lead. Oh, okay, there we go. It's email. Okay. And then we have subscribe, engage, convert. Send is out of place. This one goes here. Boom. Got to move it all the way up. That's okay. That
Perfect.
One there, and then one more, and the last one. And a lot of this is intentionally done, even if I don't have something to fit that spot. It's so operationally, I realize I need something there.
Good.
Does that make sense? So I don't necessarily have
sense.
It could just simply be asking somebody to actively send. So advocate and promote, I feel like to some extent those can be confusing.
Why would you think they're confusing?
Have some kind of review. Like maybe they leave you a Facebook review. In this case, I want them to schedule training. After they schedule training, there'll be like a series of automation that goes out that says, hey, what did you think about this? Can you leave a review, on LinkedIn or Facebook or Yelp or, wherever it is you want to review at. And then promote is when somebody it's that active referral where somebody is like, hey, so-and-so was a great referral or worked great with me. You should try them out too. Hey, I tried that. I was working with Scott from U+1. I took his, what's it called? The travel
savings passport.
And I used it at a speaking event as a giveaway, and it went like the crowd went crazy wild. You should try it on yours.
Mm-hmm.
And so to have that capability to get them to actively promote, the problem is, and we were talking about this at networking events, is people skip over all these other steps.
Right.
They just meet somebody and they walk right up to them and they put their hand on their face with their sales process and ask for the referral.
when they don't know them.
They don't know.
It's interesting because I was talking to somebody early this morning about that, and I said, as much as my business today is the connection business, and my process, it's funny because people say, "Well, who can you introduce me to?" And uh, I'll say, "Well, a more appropriate way of doing this is who do you want to meet?" And and they, every once in a while I have somebody come back and go, "Well, do you know everybody?" And I'll say, "I don't know everybody, but I kind of know everybody who knows everybody." So, I mean, there's a lot of times that I know the people. If I don't know the people, I know the people who know the people. And depending upon who it is and what you're doing. So it's interesting. I'm reframing the game by doing that. It's like,
That's,
what's that?
I said, that's interesting. I never thought about it like reframing it that way.
Well, but again, it's if I ask you, who's your ideal customer, who's your perfect avatar, who is the ideal client for you, it, I can't tell you how many times people have no clue when you ask that question.
Or they give you hyper vague demographics.
Right.
I was like, I didn't ask for demographics. I said, who's your ideal customer?
Exactly.
Like, could you imagine if somebody, like, you asked that and somebody was like, I'm looking for realtors who operate inside of the Dallas-Fort Worth area who deal in home purchases and sales between 350,000 and 1.2 million who are not happy with their current title company.
Very different. Well, the first thing when you said I'm looking for realtors in Dallas Fort Worth area, I said, okay, good. There's 14,000. Now, what do you want to know? Well, that's my point. Is but
here's another one.
But what you did is you defined
at least one deal a month. I am shocked by how many realtors do like 2 deals a year.
Well, that's most of them. That's probably 70% of them.
So, as we were selling our house, it just drives me insane. I was like, this is a $500,000 deal. I would like a realtor who is a $500,000 deal kind of realtor.
Yeah. It's who is doing it. I actually have a friend who's fairly new in that industry, and he's doing some really innovative things that, quite frankly, I would think the vast majority of realtors would do, that they're not. And so he is serving compatriots. And because of that, he's getting additional listings, and he's actually making a name. He's creating the churn, and he's making a name for himself because of the quality of service that he's bringing to the industry. It's really cool to watch, actually. And he's a year and a half into it or something like that, and everyone was like, "Oh, you'll have such a hard time because you're new and blah blah blah," and he created a very creative, out of the box kind of approach that is working. So it's cool to see. It's cool to see people take initiative and try new things.
Oh, step one. Let me go over to Double Funnel TV real quick here. Oh, here we go. This is good enough. Step one, sign up. So they are at step 2. I need to fill out their application. Smells congruent. There's a fancy word. To what
Right.
I am. Step 1 is mistakes. is uh, now we or now I? Now we. It's always interesting writing headlines. It's a whole art form in itself to get someone to open an email. So everything from including emojis is a new one. You can now include emojis in your email headlines, to including somebody's actual name in the headline. So I can take this code right here with the little percentage sign that says first name, put that in my headline, and now the person, as it is in my CRM and Active Campaign, shows up in their headline, which makes it look far more personalized, right?
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Not using any capital letters, because if I was saying, hey, what's up, I may not capitalize any letters because it's so informal. So all these little different things, or it could just be you create an incredibly compelling headline that says, free stuff here. I don't know. Whatever it takes to get those, you can start A/B split testing. The problem with A/B splitting testing your emails is you have to have enough traffic to make it statistically significant. So come up with one and just start driving traffic, and then you A/B split testing.
You said something pretty important there. It needs to be statistically significant. So what approximate number, and I know that's not a static answer, but what is statistically important? How much traffic do they have to really A/B split test?
Oh man, so I'm going to defer everything to Jonathan Rondow over at Digital Marketer. He literally has like a degree in it and taught this at Harvard. It really depends. So you can have a small amount of traffic and run the test for a long time, or you can have a lot of traffic and run it for a shorter amount of time. So minimum period to run traffic is minimum 1 week, because everything have a different reaction. You want to take out as many videos as possible, right? So one of those, Justin Rondow, not Jonathan. I knew Jonathan sounded wrong. Justin Rondow. But you need at least one Monday, one Sunday, one Tuesday, right? So if you run a test from Sunday to Wednesday, what if traffic acts completely different on Friday? Right. And that is meaning 2 weeks are exactly the same, right? So what if you ran, let's say, depending on how you break up the test, if you're just A/B split testing and 50 you're going one way and 50 you're going the other way, you don't have to worry so much. What if you're doing it week by week? So you run one test 1 week and one test the next week, but the Super Bowl was on one of those Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 Sundays don't match, right? If you were only running, what did somebody ran a test with like 8 people, and they're like, oh my God, this particular ad did so much better, I need to shut it down, or whatever it was. And it was like, it's 8 people. That's not statistically significant. Run 100 people through it, and then tell me what came through. So just for specific numbers, I would say just get some numbers through first, and then start testing. Most people, especially if they're having their funnel built for free, to be quite honest, you're not having the numbers to A/B splitting test. You're not there yet. When you start running 100 people through, then you're there.
That's why I wanted you to expand on that, because what you said is absolutely dead on. At the same time, it's like, what is significant? What's a significant number? What does that do? And if you're in the earliest stages of this, you're probably too early. Just get stuff out there and start making contact and doing that. Find your endorsers, find your advocates, find those that'll share with and for you, and get some of that. If you have a hard time getting advocates and those that'll help you, your copy and stuff probably isn't very good. Because they won't help you. I mean, they'll read it and go, yeah, no.
Exactly. And it's easy. Like, I think there's lots of people who get caught up in this idea of testing because everybody online is saying you need to test, you need to test, you need to test. Yes, that's true after you hit a certain point. Once you start driving traffic, once you start getting some information back, some data back, then start testing. If you're driving 5 people and you're trying to A/B split test a landing page, it's just not going to be effective. If you're going to drive like, I don't know, 500 people to a landing page and a completely perfect A/B split test, then sure, do that. But until you start driving larger numbers, just chill for a bit. Like, get an offer, get all your emails done, get everything, like get one bridge complete. That is built, then go start tweaking different things. And a lot of the time, the things that need to be tweaked are things that cannot be easily split tested. It's your freaking offer sucks. That's usually the problem. Your freaking offer sucks. I'm going to try not to say, some F-bombs over here. Your lead magnet is lousy and nobody cares. You're trying to sell something for $1,000 that Amazon is selling for $2,000. Got to be reasonable. Let's see.
Got to be intelligent, no doubt about it. The people love their stuff far more than most other people love your stuff.
Exactly. Log into Double Funnel TV to get the application. All right, so here's the login. Where'd my thing go? Okay, back there.
What'd you lose?
A little tag. I love adding tags because maybe they do nothing, but maybe they give you a lot of information whenever you pull somebody up in your CRM. Log in to Double Funnel TV. So at least I know that they tried to log into Double Funnel TV. Complete the application. I'm going to make it step-by-step silly. I'm actually going to give the link. Let's see what it looks like when they get there. So it's under Double Funnel TV application. Start here. Requirements. Application. So actually the link I want is here. And I might change this application up a little bit because it is long and I realize there's some things like, it seems very practical to me and then I realize some of the information I'm getting back is irrelevant. And I want to keep everything.
Well, what's the minimum? It's interesting you said that because I just switched over to something. I just looked at a page that I had open and it's been open for a couple days because there's so much information to fill out. and I'm sitting there going, and I filled out part of it and I just found out that it timed out. So whatever I filled out is now too much. It's like, really? So what's that?
I've done that before.
Well, yeah. And, again, in my world, and I'm sure in your world, the phone rings, this happens, all of a sudden the phone rings and you're up against the next meeting and then you're up against the next webinar and so, you start working and all of a sudden a conversation goes extremely well and takes significantly longer than anticipated. And, oh crap, it's, that all that information is, not good. I had that happen the other day. It was like so frustrating. It's like, okay. So what I did is I actually built it in Word. I took each of the answers and I pulled it and I created a Word document so I had the answers. So if it timed out again, I'd be able to just copy and paste. See, all these little speaker hacks, all these things you do.
I'm almost tempted to duplicate this form and make it application. Like one is the minimum things that I need. And then make a second optional application with additional information. That way there's like a basic, more like keep the basic stuff where they just have to click, right?
I'd agree with that. I think that, again, far too often, and especially in this space, the entrepreneur is the chief cook and bottle washer. They got everything going. And so all of a sudden something happens and the time changes and, blah, blah, blah. I just realized it was Wednesday. I mean, literally, I looked at my calendar. I went, oh, wait, I got a meeting coming up. Just the week it's been a great week already, but there's been so much stuff that's happened. It was like, I mean, I know that sounds silly, but it's like,
right.
Sometimes it's just the way the weeks are, right? There's been a lot of audibles this week with no internet, with us not being able to do this for a couple of days, different things like that. So,
yep, application.
Part of being an entrepreneur.
Okay. So active campaign. This is weird. So when you're talking to business owners, and it's especially when you're trying to upsell, so complete transparency, one of the ways that I'm able to make this little venture work is using what's called, and I can't find my notebooks. Oh, here's my shortcuts. Affiliates, right? I think you're familiar with affiliate marketing,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So it's basically, if somebody buys Active Campaign with my specific link, I make, I think, $1.60 a month. Just so you know, I'm not like bankrolling everything. But it gives more speaker opportunities and I get more options with them, right? And if I teach you how to build an amazing list, the amount goes up. So let's see. Clicked Active Campaign. But here I am. I'm going to, I want them to buy Active Campaign. So right here in the email, I'm going to tell them what I'm doing. As soon as you complete the application, Active Campaign will automatically send you to the next step and move you closer to getting your funnel done for free. I want to add a little excitement here, right? You're constantly in cycle of, once you convert them, so right now I'm trying to get them to convert to the fill out the application, give me some of your time and actually fill out the application, right? But then I want to turn around and excite them. And then I want to send them, and then I want to excite them, and then I send them, and excite them, and I send them, and I want to keep them going in circles where you're constantly adding some excitement, some Christmas, if you will. I think that's the best way I'm trying to explain.
Well, the other side of that is you're constantly adding value. And so, yes, there's excitement, but there's also value coming in. It's what we want to do with U+1 is we don't talk about anything, any of the tools we use or any of the relationships we have or any of that stuff. We don't do it just to do it. If these are not the people we do business with, if these are not the best at it, we don't talk about it to just get a check. I mean, that there's zero desire to do that. It's and unfortunately there are a lot of people that do it, that create a list and will just pound you every day with a different offer about something. Oh, this is the best deal. No, this is the best deal. No, this is the best deal. And it's like, it's funny. I just realized that this morning from this one, and I'm like, and the only reason I accept the emails is to see what they're sending out. It's not that I want what they're sending out. But I realized this morning, I'm doing some research, but I'm realized this morning with this one source, I am really tired of because it's not integrous. Oh, this is the best program. No, this is the best program. No, this is the best program. Stop it. You're beating me to death. All you're trying to do is get dollars. You don't really care about any of these programs, right? And so again, it's part of the quality of your relationships, and that's why relationships are so important. You've got to do the right stuff, and you got to work with the right stuff.
I get in Ryan Dice. It's funny. Digital marketer gets hit up all the time for sending too many emails and like, oh, you sent me this offer and I already have it. And what they've determined, which is one, really expensive for digital marketer, but also very interesting about the psychology. And I've done this too. When he mentioned it, I just started laughing. Is people use and give you multiple emails depending on the trust factor. So I have one email that I consider my junk inbox that I give like when I'm doing research or when I just want your download and then I don't want to see your emails. I will give my junk email, which is a benefit to everybody since I also consider emails from Facebook junk. You actually get my good Facebook email. So you get to retarget me on Facebook. Then I have my second tier email, which is like the personal email, like my kid's school gets that email, right? That's where my family sends me email. So it's a better email, but it is still overflowing. And so it may not be the inbox that I focus on. And then there's the top tier, my work email, which I keep immaculately clean, right? And so there's 3 different emails. So I think Digital Marketer actually has 4 emails for me. 4. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, I agree. It just is like, but I do a lot of research because I want to see what people are doing and I want to see how they're doing it. And my world, sometimes I'm consulting, sometimes I'm training, sometimes I'm speaking. And so a lot of times this is just fodder to speak about too. And when I'm training on a sales process, sales is about relationships. Business is about relationships. Quite frankly, everything is about relationships. Your results are dependent upon your relationships. And it just fascinates me at some of the dumb stuff that people do. I mean, and so as much as anything, part of it is discussing the good, the bad, the ugly of what works and what doesn't. So that's why, again, from my side, as a digital marketer, you're talking about an intake form there. And I'm telling you, as a user of those kind of forms, I'd like to see that like as short as possible.
Right.
As concise as possible.
All right, so I'm going to take I'm going to create a in here. I left this unnamed, untagged, double. Need application. Yeah, my buttons are just not working. I really need to make an appointment. It's turned on, and then what I want to do is I want to come back here. I want to keep it clean. Now, granted, it'll probably be easier for you to keep it clean because you don't have as much stuff as I do. Right. But I have a lot of stuff going on, so I like to label mine. And sometimes I've created, I think for one client, we created like 84 automations.
Yeah.
So you don't want to do that. Okay, so that one has that. I'm going to create a real quick new one. And then I'm going to show you just on a base level what I can start doing here. So this one is going to be whenever a tag is added, because when they fill out that form, they're going to have application submitted tag added. Oops, not want to segment once. And so what I want to happen is a CRM workflow. They're already in the deal. I want to update this stage. So when they are in the double my funnel, they fill this out. I want them to go to convert information in, affects the most recent deal for this contact, all deals for this contact, any pipeline, only the double my funnel one, and then simply, I could sit there and say, I'm going to notify someone. So from Jena Apgar, from my email to myself. Oh, wrong one.
Dear self.
I know, right? So marketing, and then you are at your own name, right? Scott Schilling?
Yes, I am.
Cool. So we'll both get notified.
Nice.
New double funnel. Oops. Look at all those caps. We've got to get that fixed. Funnel TV.
What's that fruit product you use?
Oops. New info for applicant. Move forward. And this will include a summary so you can preview, and this is what the message will look like. So it'll have their contact information already in there, and then it'll have a button. So all you have to do is click, and it will take contact. And then just end this automation. So super simple. I'm going to name it up here because it's yelling at me. I'll put application button. Caps. I keep on looking at the word application and thinking I spelled it wrong. Save. Okay, so now when we go back to deals, to show you an example.
Spell check for you?
I did it off on the side using Google. Okay, so here is James. I'm going to just peruse James' information real quick, and I can see that he has not completed the application. Go back to deals, go back to James, and I'm just going to drag and drop James here. I'll look at Shane. His personal info is empty. And so I'm going to go back to deals for him again. Move Shane over. Shane and James. Now, if I go over here and click on James now, you can see the information over here on recent activities is being updated, and he's entered the information automatically for his need of application. Here's another interesting aspect of ActiveCampaign. It pulls in social information. So I can go over to his Twitter account. We've got a Warfare Marketing login. Now, obviously, Twitter's not his thing. We're going to follow him anyway, right? It's that little ping, right? I might make it a note even. I could add this into my sales process to follow Twitter, follow Facebook, or follow LinkedIn if available. And honestly, I would do it in a series that's like over the course of a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. That way, if I ping his Twitter and he gets a notification, he's like, oh, Warfare Marketing. That's cool, whatever. He's not going to do anything, right?
But the second or third time,
it's those additional pings because you're a sales guy. How many pings, how many touch points before you close a deal?
Basically, 60% of all sales are in the 6th contact or later.
There you go.
There's a Notre Dame study that's actually very interesting that says 24% of salespeople quit after the first attempt, another 14% after the second attempt, another 12% after the third attempt, another 14% after the fourth attempt, another 12% after the fifth attempt. 96% or 94% of all salespeople quit after 5 attempts. The important part of that study is that 60% of all sales happen in the 6th attempt or later.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's
I'll do a touch point.
Yeah, I mean, so, I mean, that's the touch point side. That's why when everybody pushes in and does one ad, I did Facebook advertising. It didn't work. How many did you do? One. Duh.
For one day.
One day, one time. It's not going to work. I mean, it's consistency. It's multiple times. One of the things I actually train on a lot, I'm in a 24/7, 365 forever business. That business is the results business. How many of you think I want to do business with you today? Everybody raise your hands. Of course I want to do business with everybody today. But if it doesn't happen today, I want to do it tomorrow. If it doesn't happen tomorrow, I want to do it next week. If it doesn't happen next week, next month, if it's not next month, next year. If it's not next year, it's the year after. I'm in a 24/7, 365 forever business. So ultimately, the point is today's activity does not determine today's volume. Today's volume was determined by what happened 30, 60, 90 days ago. Today's activity determines what happens 30, 60, 90 days from now. If you're not going to do business with me today, that's okay. All I want to do is have a positive interaction so that we move towards that next interaction. If statistics and everything show that it's going to take 5 to 7 touch points on average, to think that I'm going to one call close everybody is ridiculous and quite frankly shouldn't be attempted. The buying personality types, again, there's 4 buying personality types. There is one of those 4 types that typically will take action immediately. But there are 3 other types that if you try to force them to take action immediately, you will actually repel them and probably never do business with them. Well, why would I purposefully shut off 75% of the market by being a jerk? Makes no sense. So, I mean, that's why this is a process. Even doing these, why are we doing them 5 days a week? We're doing them 5 days a week because maybe somebody sees one of them. Okay. Well, if they see one of them and they need to see it 5 or 6 times, then they need 5 or 6 weeks worth. Okay. Just what it is.
Exactly. And, I'm going back through here. I'm like, this looks terrible. I'm having to do all this stuff manually. The reason I'm having to do it manually is because I didn't do it automated before. But now all of this is automated. I'm looking at this person and I looked over their stuff. They already have their application. I can just move them on. But imagine somebody who is really stressed out and they're trying to run a side hustle and they have their normal job, their 9 to 5. What if I see someone like that struggling on let's say the mom's business group forum for Frisco, right? I can say, hey, I made this video. I don't have to completely have the conversation again. I can take one of the 100 conversations we're going to have this year and say, here's that conversation.
Exactly. So, again, the point is, I would love for everybody to do business with me the first time we met, and the chances of that happening is exactly never. So, but if you gear yourself that way, you're creating your own issues. So gear yourself to do the best you can every interaction and treat everyone with dignity, honor, and respect, and go from there. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. All right, well, we're going to wrap it up because it is 10:03 and Scott has dropped some sales bombs on us all. My favorite one is the system. What does system stand for again?
Save yourself time, energy, money.
Boom. That is so good. And for those of you who are looking to get your funnel done and you're like, well, y'all are building the same funnels over and over again, we're building our systems so that we can have the capacity to do the most humanly possible. And the reason it's a delay is because it was better to get stuff done and just start and figure it out. And actually, it's been really nice to show you the process of what it takes. And so you can see for yourself, and all the stuff that we did today, like the little bit of manual at the last minute, like I said, I will never have to do that again because I built an automated system. So I will now be able to do more and process more people without having to do it manually, without having to hire a VA or an employee or a secretary or assistant or whatever you want to call it. I can have this automated and done for me. And I think this level of active campaigns like $25 a month or something. I don't know. I haven't bought active campaign in so long. That's important to start automating it. So if you find yourself saying, I don't have time, this is what you're missing. Okay, $49. Pay up the price. Unless that's paid yearly. Let's be honest. $70 if paid monthly. But ask yourself, what is your time worth? And what is making more money worth? And how much money can $70 make you? And how much time can $70 save?
Absolutely.
It only works though if you know how to use it.
All right.
Save yourself time, energy, money system. Oh, look, Brianne's going to put it up there for you.
That's nice. Thank you, Rayanne.
And FYI, Jenna, I'm working on the next 100 active campaign contacts. So Rayanne, like we were discussing, Rayanne finished. We got her set up. Is it the most perfect setup? Is the only setup that she'll ever need? Absolutely not. But it is a system to get something going so that you can start asking your avatars, your clients, your potential leads, what do they want, and build that. Sound
Perfect.
good?
Perfect. We're doing it. All right. We'll do this again tomorrow.
Absolutely. And thanks, Scott, for putting up and watching us. And let's move some fresh faces in and get U+1 done.
Sounds great. Look forward to it. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Bye, everyone.